Imagine this, a country owes more than twice of what it earns. For every 100 that it makes, it owes 235 rupees. Now for everyone else, it is a big crisis. But for Japan, it is just a normal day. So how does the most indebted nation in the world stays this calm? Now, Japan's government debt stands at 235% of GDP, the highest among the major economies. Now, for the comparison, US is around 122%, France is 110%, and UK is about 104%. Now, by the logic of textbooks, Japan should be drowning, but it is not, because the real story is not about how much debt it has, it is who it owes it to. Over 90% of Japan's debt is held within Japan itself by its bank, pension funds, insurance firms, and its own central bank, which means Japan borrows from itself in yen, not in dollars. It owes its own people, not the world. Now, when you owe foreigners, you lose control. If they lose faith, they will sell your bonds and your currency collapses, inflation explodes. But when you owe your citizens in your currency, you control the outcome. You can manage interest rate, print liquidity, stabilize your system without begging to IMF. And that is the power of domestic debt. It gives a country monetary sovereignty. Look at the countries that did not have the control. Sri Lanka borrowed heavily in dollars. When rupee crashed, it could not repay. Argentina has defaulted 9 times, mostly on dollar bonds. Greece, Turkey, all of them struggled when the foreign money left. Now the mistake was not taking debt, it was taking in someone else's currency. Because when you owe the world, your economy becomes hostage to it. Now, Japan's economy has not grown fast for 2 decades, but it is the people who save more than most nations spend. Their saving rate hovers around 25% and they trust their system more than stock market. Now, that deep trust keep the borrowing cost near to zero, and that's why Japan can live with a debt that would destroy someone else. Now, here is where it gets interesting. Let's put this in perspective with India. India's debt is around 81% of GDP, much lower than the Japan's 235%. But like Japan, over 90% of the India's debt is domestic. We borrow from our own banks, LIC, EPF, mutual funds, all in rupees. Now that's why the global shocks don't shake India easily. But the difference is Japan's safety comes from stability and savings, and India's comes from growth and momentum. Our GDP has been rising 6 to 7% annually, keeping the debt really sustainable. So the real lesson is about structure and trust. Debt becomes dangerous only when it depends on someone else's currency, someone else's faith. Japan shows that domestic debt gives you the control, and Sri Lanka, Argentina shows that foreign debt takes it all away. Because in the end, debt does not destroy the nation. Losing trust in our own system actually does.